Like I said, I'm doing my best to make these quicker, but the last one was like over 15, damn near 20 goddamn minutes. So, this mini-series, because there were 3 different mini-series, I sort of just watched all back to back. 2 of them from HBO, relatively new, and other one from Netflix. And then after those 3, there's another concluding season of a Netflix show I wanted to get to. But first off was an HBO miniseries that came out last year. There were 2 miniseries that came out last year that everyone was hounded on to see because they were told to be like the 2 of the best shows of the year. One of them was a Netflix miniseries called When They See Us, which I saw and thought was incredible. And then the other one was this HBO miniseries right here called Chernobyl. This one, from scene 1, it is bleak shit. It's a true story, but it's about as harrowing as a true story account can be. You learn a surprising amount of info regarding what actually went down at Chernobyl in was it 86? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was 86. The historical accuracy and period detail is so on point. Because in the Ukraine at the time it was still the USSR or the Soviet Union, and like this is back when Germany was still split into east and west parts. So it deals as much with fallout of radiation and the chaos of that whole catastrophe and the aftermath, and specifically the political and legal aftermath of what went down afterwards. Such a great cast. There are some top-notch performances, and I may not be able to remember all of the characters' names because, like I said, most of them are either Ukrainian or Russian names. But all the actors are, for the most part, British. You got Jared Harris playing the lead scientist. Stellan Skarsgård plays, I want to say, sort of the prime... Does Ukraine have a prime minister or president? Because they referred to him as minister, so I want to say prime minister of the country. And Emily Watson plays, I want to say, either a geologist or another type of scientist, someone who does a lot of research in that particular field. The details regarding radiation itself, because it opens with damage and fallout of a nuclear reactor exploding, and they keep getting told over and over again by their superiors, oh, that's impossible, that can't happen, that can't explode, that's not supposed to happen ever. And it just escalates more and more from there. The writing is on point, the direction is on point, the score, I think the person who did the score for this is the same woman who, if I'm not mistaken, won an Oscar for Best Original Score for Joker, which I still haven't seen. Johan Rank is the director of the miniseries, and he's directed quite a few episodes of a whole bunch of TV shows, but I mainly know his name because he directed a whole bunch of episodes of a History Channel show I love called Vikings, which is another show I need to get back on. I think I left off at I finished season 4 of that show 2 or 3 years ago. That's another one I need to get on really bad. Stellan Skarsgård, the Prime Minister of the country, and Jared Harris and Emily Watson are by far the 2 best performances in this. They have you glued to the screen every time they're on. As far as actual... See, I got a 2-part thing here. Yeah, there's more dread and impending doom in this 5-episode miniseries, more terror than a lot of horror movies than you're likely to get, because it really shows and depicts to a graphic degree what terrifyingly so, how badly radiation can fuck your skin up and just destroy you from the outside and in. There's a scene where a dude goes in to look at the nuclear reactor that blew up, and he sticks his face directly in it. And he comes back out with his face just beet red, and then not even a day later, he's either close to dead or he's about dead, because his face is blistered, swollen just patches of blistered skin everywhere. It's disturbing. Yeah, just what radiation is, what it can do, and what the capacities of its damage can do, uh, and what exactly its function inside of the reactor itself is. Which I'm surprised they went to such a length, almost like a little part of a class where they pull out the projector and they show you exactly how each and every part works. They literally do that in a like a courtroom drama type scene towards the end. But it, speaking of which, it does point the finger directly at the sheer incompetence, just the ignorance, uh, arrogance, just plain stupidity that led to this ultimately happening. Because there was one person in charge in particular, I can't remember the character's name, but if this person was as criminally negligent as they're portrayed here, this dude, uh, Jared Harris's scientist character says it in the very beginning perfectly when he's writing a note and he's got radiation poisoning and cancer himself. He's writing down, he says, I do not believe he deserves the 10 years of prison time that he got. They should have killed him. Like, he deserved the death penalty. And it's like, shit. Just the length to which ego and bullheadedness, or just really not knowing what you're doing when you claim you do, and just refusing to take no for an answer when people you see as beneath you are challenging you, it just leads to a whole bunch of shit and a whole bunch of problems. And that kind of carelessness leads to, in the worst case scenario here, disaster. And the people who were underneath them knew they were making a mistake. It's like, I don't want to do this. This is the wrong thing to do. And that's why it's so, not just compelling, but terrifying to watch. So it's a docudrama and 5 episodes that are about an hour long apiece. It's very, very gripping. And it surprised me to see who wrote and created the show. It might surprise a lot of people to see a name like Craig Mazin, because you look at an IMDb page, because you love the writing and the great narrative tension of this show, and you look at his IMDb page and go, that guy? No, I'm not talking bad about the dude either, but you just think to yourself, the dude who wrote and directed superhero movie did this. It's like, some people got some talent that you never knew they had, or this guy just always was that talented and could only book shit Hollywood gigs for money. And that happens a lot, to where you got a whole bunch of good shit on deck, but the only thing that sells is like lowest common denominator stuff. So it's like, all right, I'll write the damn thing, so hopefully in the future I can finance what I actually want to do, like a dream project movie or something like this, which was, if it was the case, it was well worth the effort, because this was one of the best pieces of television of 2019. So yeah, it came out last year. So overall, definitely a 5-star one. It's just excellently done. As a docudrama, like I said, it's damn near perfect. Direction, writing, acting, score, just the way it's filmed is incredible. Just, there's not much in the way of action, because it's probably not the right word to use, but there is still a lot of things going on. There's a lot of things that may not look as terror-inducing or dread-inducing as they are, but facts that are captioned at the very end, like the very final episode is probably the most harrowing one, because it lays out just exactly every bit of damage that was done, and that the damage that kept going on afterwards, not just in the 80s, but 90s and 2000s onward. And the one negligent person in charge that I mentioned earlier, that guy died. And he died of radiation poisoning and cancer, I think back in the mid-90s. Because most people, when they got radiation poisoning, even if they were like far, far away, they still caught it if they inhaled some dust or debris that fell off. Because there's one place that was even called the Bridge of Death, where a bunch of parents and kids were standing, and there was ash coming off from the blew up building, and they call it the Bridge of Death because all of the people in that scene, all those parents, all those kids, they all died, and none of them survived. It's like, shit. And that scene, all these kids they almost look like they're playing in the snow or something, like, wow, it's so fun. And none of them are alive. It's like, Jesus. So, yeah, if you want something, to induce more dread and more creepy feeling than most horror flicks or psychological thrillers than you're likely to see, this is a drama to do that. But it's also one to showcase worst case scenario of when, like the worst case scenario of criminal negligence, like acting like you know your shit when you really, really don't, and just completely sidestepping facts and logical information for the sake of one's own ego and making oneself look good as opposed to keeping everyone else around you safe, especially if you're working in a nuclear fucking reactor. So, yeah, if you got HBO, highly recommend Chernobyl. I still got some shows to look up. Well, not look up, but watch, but the schedule's long, and I got time. I'm trying to cover up the logo. I don't know, because I heard about the whole if a logo is shown and it's not sponsoring the thing, you can't show it or whatever the shit. Motherfuck. Oh, for the love of God. I don't remember it hitting that hard before. Probably because I just charged it. Stay safe, y'all.